will be an address field, then there will be a control field. So to specify some control information about that particular frame, and followed by there will be a data, and also FCS. What is FCS I told? So that is frame checksum. Okay, so this is, and also here there will be a like I'm not added the data here. Let me just add it. Okay, so after the control information, so there is a payload. So what do you mean by payload? So payload, it is nothing but the user data. Okay, so there will be a field because this is a variable length frame. Okay, so depending on the size of the data, it is going to occupy the space, and followed by you will be having FCS, that is frame checksum, like how we have used internet checksum, similar to that, to detect errors. Okay, in case if the data is corrupted, so this, it is going to use these extra bits, and the receiver will be able to identify there is an error or not. Okay, so this is the simple frame in HDLC. Okay, so HDLC is an example of what type of byte oriented it is. I mean, what type of protocol it is. Is it a bit oriented or byte oriented? HDLC. Okay, all present in the last class. Can you tell what I told? HDLC, that is high level data link control. It is a bit oriented protocol. So what is the meaning of bit oriented? You need to understand. Okay, bit oriented, byte oriented. Okay, whenever it is the data link layer is forming the frame, whenever the ambiguity arises, in case if the flag is a part of data, okay, whatever the pattern it is chosen for flag, okay, in case if it is a part of data, to indicate that this is not the end of the frame, this is a part of the data, you are going to add one extra bit, okay, to overcome with that conflict. One bit is added, so that's why it is called as a bit oriented. Okay, in case if it is adding the byte information, example escape character. Okay, so that is called as character oriented or byte oriented, where you are going to stuff one byte in case if the flag pattern is a part, and we do go further. So keep on wait response. What is bit oriented and byte oriented, or character oriented or bit oriented? So you should be very clear with that. Okay, so where you are going to stuff extra bit and you will unstuff, I mean the receiver will unstuff, and whatever the data is remaining, that is delivered to the network layer. Okay, so that is all about the HDLC. I am not going to deal with in detail about this HDLC, but you should be aware of it. Okay, it is also a protocol, the important protocol present at the data link layer to form this. Okay, so what type of frames I was, we discussed about the different configuration and modes. Okay, other than that, I told some of the structure, that is iframe. Okay, iframe indicates information frame. Okay, whenever user want to exchange the information, so in that case, it is going to use the iframe. Okay. Similarly, whenever it requires to go for some exchange of supervisory information, okay, supervisory information, that is with respect to flow and error control. So in such cases, it is going to use S frame. Okay, and the last one is U frame. Okay, so whenever it requires to exchange the acknowledgement, okay, we have discussed now in the stop and wait protocol. So if it is information exchange, it has to go for I frame. Okay, if it is an acknowledgement, it has to use the U frame, that is called as unframed, okay, unnumbered frame. So that is mainly used for exchanging the acknowledgement. Okay, it is not like all the frame structure is same frame which is used. No. So depending on the type of frame, there are receivers or exchanging accordingly these frame structures are used: I frame, S frame, and U frame. Okay, so let it be this part. I'm not going to be aware of it. In case it's any, like if you're in any competitive exam, you should be able to know what are the different types of frames that is supported in HDLC. What is HDLC? High level data link control. Okay. Now, similar to this HDLC, we have another protocol called point-to-point protocol. Okay. In short, we call it as PP. Okay. Point-to-point protocol. So it's similar to HDLC. We'll just look into in detail the frame structure, how this protocol works with the transition diagram, okay, and the frame structure. So in this protocol, we are going to discuss in detail. So yeah, normally with respect to this topic, either they will ask the frame structure, I am going to explain that, or they may ask a transition diagram. Okay, so we'll just look into these topics in today's class. Okay, so now what is point to point
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay, so yes,
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Audible. It's breaking, ma'am.
is it now? Can you check now? What about others? Is it everybody are facing the same
Now
problem?
it's proper, ma'am.
Now it's okay, ma'am.
Now it's fine, ma'am.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, okay. I need to keep mic near to me. Okay, fine. So if any issues, you let me know. Okay. So now the millions of users, so if they want to connect their system to the internet, okay, so it is done using this protocol, point-to-point protocol. Okay. So that is whenever home computer to be connected to the server of an internet service provider. Okay, that is ISP. So this is implemented using point-to-point protocol. Okay, so whenever most of the time the internet, whatever the internet you are connecting in your home, okay, to your devices, it uses the telephone lines, telephone link most of the time. Okay, so that is with respect to physical layer. Okay, when it comes to the when it comes to the data link layer, the framing format and all, it is taken care by the point-to-point protocol. Okay. So point to point, for you know, nowadays whatever the system, like my device or your device, so all the devices are connected to internet service provider through which you are able to access the internet. Okay. So now at the data link layer, okay, to exchange the data, so here they have implemented using point to point protocol. So what is the function of this point to point protocol? So what is the functions or the services it is supported by the point-to-point protocol? So we'll just go one by one. The services supported by point-to-point protocol. So your point-to-point protocol defines the format of the frame to be exchanged between the device. What is the main function? It is going to give the format of the frame. That is main thing. Okay, like how I explained in HDLC, no? Similar to that, even point-to-point protocol, it is having its own frame format. Okay, it is going to use its own frame format for exchange of data between the devices, that is the sender and the receiver. Okay, there is a main service that is supported by the point-to-point protocol where it will provide the frame format. And the second one is how two devices can negotiate establishment of the link and exchange the data. Okay, so it is having the procedure, the point-to-point protocol. Okay, so where the two devices can negotiate. Okay, what is the meaning of negotiate? They will come to an agreement. Okay, so what protocol to use, so how the connection should be established. So all that negotiation takes place between the parties, okay, the sender and the device, and accordingly there will be an establishment means the connection between the sender and the receiver, it is going to take place. So the establishment process, it is also taken care by the point-to-point protocol. Okay, so this negotiation is very, very important. When it comes to the transition diagram, I'll explain how it is going to work. Okay, point-to-point protocol is designed to accept payload from several network layer. Okay, so it is going to accept payload means it is nothing but it is a data or it is an information. Don't get confused with the terms. Okay, normally instead of user data or information, we'll be using the term payloads. When you are dealing with the frames, you need to use the term called payloads. It is nothing but data, user data, what data the user want to exchange. So that is termed as payloads. Okay, so here point-to-point protocol is designed to accept payloads from several network layer. Okay, so it is designed to accept whatever the data that comes from different network layers. Then authentication is also provided. Okay, but it is optional. Authentication means it should have some identity. Okay, normally how your authentication takes place if you want to log into your Gmail. Normally it will ask for email ID and the password. Similarly, here also point-to-point protocol take care of authentication, and also this is optional. Okay, if both the parties are interested, go for authentication, they can use it. Otherwise, during negotiation, okay, during before the establishment of the link, they can go for negotiation. So if they are not interested for the authentication, they can just ignore the authentication step and they can proceed for the further steps to transfer the data. Is it clear? So one is mainly the service provided by the point-to-point protocol is format of the frame. Okay, it is going to define the format of the frame. Then two devices can negotiate the establishment of the link. Is it my voice is clear now?
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Ma'am.
Okay. So point-to-point is designed to accept payloads from several network layer. It is not like just only from one layer. Okay, so if the device is connected to different network, at the same time it can accept the data from several network layers. Authentication is also provided, but it is optional. Okay, these are the main services provided by the point-to-point protocol. So any doubt in this? Services? So you should be knowing when you are learning any protocol, first understand. So in which layer that protocol works, what are the main service or the functionality provided by the protocol. Then you can go for understanding the implementation part. Okay, without understanding what is the role of that protocol, if you are learning something else, it is meaningless. Okay, first always try to understand the functionalities or the services. Okay, so the new version of point-to-point protocol it is also called multi-link point-to-point protocol. Just be aware of this term, that's all. Okay, whatever the updated version of point-to-point protocol it is there, that is called as multi-link point-to-point protocol because it provides connection over multiple links. Okay, it provides connection over multiple link, that is more than one link. So here one interesting feature of point-to-point protocol is that it provides network configuration. Okay, it supports for network configuration. We are going to discuss in detail what is the meaning of your configuration. Okay, when I go to the frame structure, I'll be explaining in detail about these things. Okay, this is useful when home user needs a temporary network address to connect to the internet. Okay, so whenever temporary internet connection is required, okay, so that is also supported by point-to-point protocol by setting the proper network configuration. Then what not the point-to-point protocol is not going to provide. Okay, what are the services it is not going to provide? So your services not provided by point-to-point protocol. Okay, not provided. It is not going to support these things. Point-to-point protocol does not provide flow control. So what is the meaning of flow control here? I think you got a question, no, in the test. What is the difference or distinguish between error control and flow control? Flow control means in case if the sender is sending the data at faster rate, if this is a receiver, okay, if the receiver is very slow in processing the data and sender if the sender is keep on sending the data at faster rate, what happens at some point of time, the receiver is going to the situation, okay, of overwhelming or whatever the data that is the sender is sending at faster rate, it may not be possible to process at the receiver side. Okay, because its process speed is very less. Okay, to some extent it can store the data in the buffer, whatever the recent data it comes. Okay, once the buffer is full, okay, whatever the new data that comes, it will be lost. Okay, so that's why we need a flow control. That means there should be a synchronization. Okay, if the sender is sending the data at faster rate, okay, if the receiver tells I am not able to process the data at that speed, then automatically the sender should have some mechanism to slow the sending of data. Okay, so this mechanism is not there in point-to-point protocol. Okay, it does not provide flow control. That is, a sender can send several frames one after the another with no concern. Okay, that is important. It is not going to worry. Okay, I am just explaining without interacting or asking you people continuously. Okay, so there may be possibility few students may be not followed what I explained. Okay, that is the reason most of the time I'll be asking, so did you understood? Okay, so if any such things, so it is called as the flow control. So here the flow control is not supported. So PP, that is point-to-point protocol, has very simple mechanism of error control. Okay, it is having error control mechanism. Okay, so but for not complex thing, to some extent simple mechanism is there. So that is example whatever we have discussed now in the previous chapter, that is CRC, cyclic redundancy check. So how you can just the sender can add few extra bit. With the help of those extra bits, how receiver can detect the error, or the receiver can identify the frame is corrupted or not. Okay, so here it is just going to perform the error control or error detection. So there will be a field in the frame. When we go to the frame structure, you can just identify there will be one particular field. Okay, so that will be having the CRC. So it is used to detect the error if the frame is corrupted. So it is silently discard. So we have already know all this procedure. In case if it is corrupted, it will discard and it may ask for resending. Okay, lack of error control and sequence numbering may cause packet to be received out of order. Okay, so we have discussed in the previous class. If there is no sequence, what happens? Okay, if there is no sequence, there may be possibility of duplicate data is received at the receiver side, and also so all the data that's at the receiver side. If there is no numbering, reordering of that frames, it is going to be difficult at the receiver side. So for that reason, numbering is must for the frame. Okay, so that it can be ordered at the receiver side. Okay, so here it supports for error control but not flow control. Then PP does not provide a sophisticated addressing mechanism to handle frames in multi-point configuration. Okay, so we'll discuss about this addressing mechanism, what type of addressing it is going to use. Okay, with respect to multi-point configuration when we discuss about the frame structure. Okay, is it clear? So very simple information about a point-to-point protocol. What is point-to-point protocol? What are the services it supports? And what are the services it is not going to provide. So next we'll move on to a framing. Okay, you can just observe the framing structure. See, now whatever the chapter we have started, the 11th chapter, it is mainly deals with this frame structure. Okay, so what are the different types of frame? Okay, what are the different protocols are there? All those things. So now according to point-to-point protocol, it is an example of character oriented. Okay, I already told HDLC is bit oriented and point-to-point protocol is a character oriented protocol. Okay, so listen carefully. So at the end of this class, you will be having one quiz. So where I have covered all these points, whatever the class I am taking now. So the same content it will be there in the quiz. So listen carefully. So point-to-point protocol is character oriented. If possible, just note down the important point. Okay, or it is called byte oriented protocol. Okay, So now this is a frame structure. You can just observe. You can just count. This is variable length frame. In the beginning of this chapter, I told two different types of frame structure. One is a fixed size frame and another one is variable length frame. So now you can just observe this is a variable length frame. I cannot tell what is the maximum size of this frame. Okay, because it depends on the payload or the user data, how much user data they are going to add. Okay. Are you getting? This is variable length payload structure. Okay, the framing it is formed using variable length. So here you can just observe always the frame starts with the flag and ends with the flag. Okay, this much you should be very clear. So this is to indicate the beginning of the frame and this is to indicate the end of the frame. After that, okay, so let's go with one by. Okay, so here for flag, the number of bits allocated is 8 bits, that is 1 byte. For address, 1 byte, and then control for 1 byte, and protocol here it may take 1 to 2 bytes. Then payload, it is nothing but user data or information. Then 2 to 4 bytes for FCS, that is frame checksum. It is similar to CRC. Okay, that is cyclic redundancy check. So here that is termed as frame checksum. Okay, so extra bits are added here for detection of errors, then followed by 1 byte flag. Okay, so here I already told in the beginning of this chapter, that is the frame it is having some bit pattern. Okay, so flag, so here the flag it is having some bit pattern, not the frame, sorry, flag. Okay, so flag it is going to have one particular bit pattern for 1 byte. Okay, so point to point frame starts and ends with 1 byte flag. Okay, so here they have given the bit pattern used for flag is 0 followed by 610. Okay, so this is a bit pattern it is used because it should be known, because in case if this bit pattern may be part of data, okay, it has to use the escape character. Do you remember? In bit oriented and byte oriented, if it is a character oriented or byte oriented, if it is the flag pattern is part of payload, so then you have to use the escape character. Okay, so before to this there should be an escape character to indicate that this is not an end of the frame. Okay, so now this flag part is over. Okay, so here also it is using same pattern, here also it uses the same pattern. Then next is address part. Okay, so address, like the where it has to send the data, okay, to which device. So here address it is represented with a broadcast address. Broadcast means it is going to send to all the devices connected in the internet. Broadcast. Okay, the address field in this protocol is constant value and is set to this pattern. Okay, to this number. I think it is 8 ones. Okay, it is nothing but broadcast address. So you will be learning in detail what are the different types of addressing when it comes to the end of this module. I'll be explaining. So your broadcast means it will be sending to all the devices. Okay, broadcast, multicast. So all that I'll be unique cast. Unique cast means a particular device. Okay. Multicast means only group of devices. So like that. So here when I use the term broadcast, it is going to send to all the devices. Okay, so that is about the address. Next, control field. Okay, so what is the control field here? It is going to perform. You can just observe. So in the frame, you have the third field is control. So this field is set to the constant value. Okay, so this is the constant value. It is going to set to this value. So what exactly it is going to perform? It does not provide any flow or error control. Okay, or if it is error control, it is there, it will be limited to error detection. There is no flow control, only limited to error detection. Okay, so I'll explain when it comes to different types of framing. So we'll discuss in detail about this control information. Okay, so how it can make use of this control information to make decision or to tell what type of data this particular frame it contains. Okay. Next, we have protocol. Okay, the next field is protocol. So here the protocol tells, it defines what is being carried in the data field. Okay, so payload, it is there, no? This is called data field. So what it is carrying in this field? So why that question arises here? What is being carried? Because I told in HDLC there are different types of frame, no? There are different types of frame, no? So to carry different information, if it is an acknowledgement, the frame structure is going to be different. Okay, if it is a information like that. Okay, so it is going to tell what type of information it is going to carry in the payload. Protocol, it just tells the type of information that is present in the payload. Okay, and the length of this protocol, it may vary 1 to 2 bytes. Okay, so don't worry, still in case if you are getting any questions about this, we are going to discuss a particular frame structure. There are different frame structure with respect to point-to-point protocol. There we'll go in detail and we'll understand how this protocol information is represented over there. So the next one is payload. Okay, so here you can just observe written as variable. That means the length of payload is variable. Because I am explaining this point-to-point protocol, it is of type variable length frame. That means these are all fixed. Okay, only the payload part, it is going to be variable. Okay, depending on the size of the information the user can send. But still there is a maximum size how much the data can be added into the frame. There is a limit. So this field carries either user data or other information. Okay, so user data means what data the user want to exchange. Other information indicates some other type of information, that is I told acknowledgement information, or it can be some control management information, all that. Okay, in case if data field is a sequence of bytes with a default one, maximum 1500 bytes. Okay, so this payload length, it may go up to 1500 bytes. Okay, it cannot exceed more than that. So this can be exchanged during negotiation. See, there are like during negotiation means during establishment of the link. Okay, it has to exchange all this information. Okay, what is the size of data it is going to send? Okay, so that information it is exchanged between the two devices. The data field is byte stuffed. Okay, if the flag bit pattern appears in this field, this you already know. In case if the flag pattern, if it is part of payload, okay, then you have to go for byte stuffing. Okay, that is nothing but escape character is added in front of the data, indicating this is not the end of frame. Okay, because it is going, once it start reading the data, if this pattern arrives in the somewhere here, okay, what the data link layer, it thinks that, oh, okay, this is the end of the frame. Okay, so to avoid that confusion, you are going to use byte stuffing, where you are going to add one escape character. So that will indicate to the data link layer that this is not the end of the frame, it is a part of data. This bit pattern is a part of data. Okay, then it will continue the reading of the data. Okay, so the last field is FCS, that is frame checksum sequence. Frame checksum sequence. Okay, it's how many bytes? 2 to 4 bytes. Again, it is variable 2 to 4 bytes. So what is the purpose of this? So the purpose of this for error detection. Okay, where it can add those extra or redundant bits in this field, and that can be used by the receiver. Okay, that can be used by the receiver to check there is an error or not. Okay, so this is about the frame structure. So in the exam, they may ask, explain the frame structure of point-to-point protocol with a transition diagram. Okay, so I will explain the transition diagram. Is it clear, the basic frame structure? Yes.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Okay.
can you show
Okay.
the
Thank you.
part FCS again, ma'am?
Which one?
FCS, it's not visible, ma'am. FCS, last point.
Okay. 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 So FCS stands for frame checksum sequence. Okay. So it is very similar to your CRC. Okay. Because we are dealing with frame, that's why the name it is renamed to FCS. Okay. This is CRC. Cyclic redundancy check. Okay. So all that extra bits you can just observe here. It is a standard CRC. Instead of specifying CRC, they have given frame checksum sequence. Both are same. So this field is used for error detection. Okay, whatever the information it is present in this field that can be extracted at the receiver side to check there is an error in the received data or not, or the data is corrupted or not. Okay, that procedure I have already explained. You know how CRC works, how the redundant bits can be used for error detection. Okay, in case if anybody not understood, go back and check it how CRC works. The same procedure it is used here. So there you have understood how to calculate CRC. Okay, this is a situation or this is the place where you are going to add the CRC. Okay, where CRC is added, you should be knowing that it is added in the frame. Okay, along with the data, it will add this redundant bits. Code word. Okay, these two together it is called as code word. Okay, next one, diagram. Very important. Okay, so you just note down in your notebook. Normally they will ask this transition diagram. Okay, very simple diagram. Normally it is asked for 6 to 8 marks. So everyone you can easily write this answer. Okay, so you can just observe what is transition diagram here indicates. It is nothing but the finite state machine. In the previous chapter we have discussed, previous topic we have discussed now, finite state machine. Okay, finite state machine. That means, so here you can just see I have specified some of the state. Okay, whenever if there is a particular event, okay, say I have a mouse. If I click on something, okay, it will perform some operation. Okay, if I click on this pen, I'll be able to get so this particular pen color. Okay, that is an event. Similarly, so whenever if there is an event happen, so this particular operation takes place and it will change the state from current state to some other state. Okay, that is represented as a transition phase. Maybe I think in software engineering you learned. Okay, state diagram. This is very important. Even when you are going for your projects, it requires. Okay, you should be able to draw the state diagram. Okay, so let's start with this diagram. Okay, first let me just tell what are the states it is present. Okay, the transition diagram starts with the dead state. Okay, the process I'll explain later. First go through the states. What are the possible states? The system may be in dead state, okay, or it may move to establishment state, or authenticate state, network state, okay, then open state, then terminate state. So there are 5 state, okay, through which where the exchange of data takes place using this frame, point to point frame structure. Okay, okay, so let me just start the process where exactly it starts. So you can just observe the transition diagram. This is called the transition diagram where you can identify this the round color, the square. It indicates the states of the machine. Okay, and the arrow marks indicates due to the statement whatever I have written on, due to this event it is changing the state from dead to establishment. Okay, like that. So we'll start with when the system start. Okay, when the system starts it will be in dead state. Okay, so here when it is in dead state there is no active carrier. Okay, it is not going to perform any operation when the system is in dead state. Okay, dead state means if you shut down your system, okay, that is in dead state. Okay, until unless you press start button from your computer system. Okay, when you press on start button, what happens? Your system, it will start get booting. Okay, it will boot the operating system. So similarly, so here initially the system will be in dead state. Okay, here it will perform any active carrier. Okay, so it is not going to transmit any data or nothing it is going to do. So when one of these two nodes start communication, okay, that is sender and receiver, when one of two nodes start communicating, okay, either in this way or in this way, start communication, the connection goes to establishment state. Okay, the connection goes from dead state to establishment state. Okay, in this state, the options, okay, options are negotiated between the parties or the devices. Okay, here parties are nothing but the sender and receiver. Okay, I'll be using the term parties or between the sender and receiver. Okay, so establishment, what is the main thing it is going to happen? So negotiation is going to take place in this state. Okay, between whom? The sender and the receiver. Okay, if two parties agrees, they need authentication. Okay, so what is the negotiation? So the sender and receiver, it will tell that, is it we need authentication process? Maybe the receiver may tell yes. Okay, in that case, there will be authentication state. Okay, in case if these two parties are not interested about the authentication, then the next state, okay, here there will be no authentication, that is the checking of the authorization of the person or the devices. Okay, so it will directly go to the network state. Are you getting? Okay, in establishment state, it will just go for the negotiation. Okay, if the two parties agree, they need authentication. Okay, authentication means normally it will just check out the devices with the username and the password. Okay, if it is valid, then it will go to the network state. Okay, during negotiation, if those two devices feel that it is not required, then directly from establishment it will go to the network state. Okay, are you getting? So this negotiation takes place in the establishment. Next, so after once authentication is over, so the network is established. Okay, it will do all the configuration, whatever it is required at the network layer, and it is connected, and it is going to the state called open. So in open state, what it is going to perform, the device, okay, the device is going to start transferring the data. So transfer of data takes place in state open. Okay, that is the actual exchange of data takes place when the two devices are in this state. Okay, so how long it will be in this state? As long as these two devices are exchanging the data. So once any one device decides that, okay, or both the devices decides that there is no exchange of data is required anymore, okay, then the connection remains still until one of the endpoint want to terminate the connection. Okay, if any one device start thinking that it's not required anymore, the connection, then it will be moving the state from open to terminate. Okay, terminate means whatever the link it is established, that is terminated. It is terminated. No exchange of data is going to take place once it is moving from open to terminate state. Okay, so this is one way where it can come to terminate state. There is another way, that is whenever if two parties agree for authentication, okay, they will go for authentication. Okay, in case during that authentication process, if two devices like authentication, if it is not proper, okay, so in that case authentication, if it is failed, then directly it will go to terminate state. Okay, it will not allow the sender and receiver to exchange the data. Directly it will be going to the terminate state. Okay, this is another way, okay, or another cause where it can come to the terminate state. Another one is after exchange of data, it is going to change the state from open to terminate. Once the system is in terminate state, okay, there is no exchange of data, so then carrier is going to be dropped and it will move to the dead state. Okay, So wherever the system was there in the beginning, it will move to the same state. So it is inactive state. Dead state means it is inactive state. So no operation is going to take place. So any questions as of now?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you explain the authentication state again?
Yes. See, authentication means like if you want to log in a Gmail, what you are going to do? You need some authentication, no? So that is the device want to know is it you are an authorized person or not to access anything. Okay, for that what you are going to do? You have to give the proper email ID, okay, and the password. If any one is wrong, okay, you will not able to connect to the network to which you want to connect. Okay, in that case, it will go to the terminate state where you will be just in the same web page. Okay, I'm just giving example of Gmail. In case, okay, in case if whatever the credentials it is shared, if it is correct, and then there will be a network establishment takes place, and once network is configured, so you will be able to view all your mails or whatever the information you want to see in your session. Okay, so here according to that the data exchange takes place once authentication is done, because here it requires no, in the network there are so many devices are connected, so it requires is it the authorized person with authorized person I am exchanging the data or with somebody else. Okay, so for that reason authentication is required. And also authentication here it is optional. I already told it is optional. Okay, in the establishment step, okay, in this state the two parties will decide, so do we need authentication? Authentication step is needed. Okay, if both agrees, then it will go to authentication state. Okay, where it will identify each of these device itself. Okay, if they are identified correctly, then exchange of data takes place. Okay, if one is unable to authenticate, see, authentication means just remember this identifying the person, is the authorized person or not. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay, so this is the transition diagram, okay, where you can see the different state through which the system goes for exchange of data. Okay, so in the exam if they ask, draw this neat diagram and explain all the states. Okay, what exactly it is going to happen in each of these states. Okay, so very important, just note down, very important. So next we have multiplexing. Okay, so here there are three multiplexing with respect to the frame. So three sets of protocols used to make point-to-point protocol. Okay, so here I told about the protocol frame structure. Okay, this is the frame, basic frame structure, whatever I explained. So now there are standard protocols with respect to the frame structure. Mainly there are three types. Okay, and what is the specialty of these protocol or more powerful? That means like with respect to the information it is added, the way the protocol is implemented, okay, it is more powerful compared to the previous frame structure, whatever we have discussed. In that, the first one is link control protocol, the second one is authentication protocol, the third one is network control protocol. Okay, we need to discuss all these three protocols. Okay, so explain how multiplexing is done. Okay, using different protocol in point-to-point protocol. If they ask, you have to explain these three protocols. Okay. Okay. So let me go for this protocol explanation in the next class. Okay, I'll explain these three protocols in the next class. So that finishes the 11th chapter.